I get a lot of questions about how to crowdfund and how to do it successfully. A lot of it happens by accident. You get a following and then you get bigger and things just work. It's really difficult to replicate things because everybody's circumstances are different. Everybody is in a different space when they're starting their book. Everybody's book's a little different. It's not the same genre, not the same audience, not the same creators. So you can't give a complete, I guess, advice which works for everybody all the time. But this simple trick that I'm going to talk about in just a second is something that a lot of creators, especially first-time creators, mess up on. And I'm going to help you with this so that you don't make this mistake on your crowdfund when you get this started. All right, we'll get to this in just a second. My name is John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and award-winning comic creator. And as you can see on my Overmind right now, I've already got $15,000 coming in on this beautiful project, which I've still got 45 days to go on the campaign. So the reason we talk about this stuff, of course, if this helps you, if you like comics and all that, if you like science fiction, definitely go and check out my project down below. I'll put that link for you. And of course, subscribe to the channel and support us over here because we're trying to build something, build a community around, of course, awesome independent work, awesome science fiction, awesome comics, board games, and of course, other content. All right. So it's been a while since I've done one of these Comics Writers Pro Secrets shows, but I pretty much only do this when I get questions. And I got a question about crowdfunding recently, of course, because this is going so successfully. People are interested in the secrets. Now, I am going to highlight another campaign when I talk about this. And I want to reiterate, I'm not picking on this campaign. To me, this is just a very obvious mistake that was made. And I am backing the campaign that I'm mentioning because the creators are awesome and it's a book that looks really good. But that doesn't matter. You can have the best creators attached. You can have a book that looks absolutely beautiful. But if you make certain mistakes, you're still not going to have a good time with your crowdfund. It's just the way of the world. I've seen books go out there and that I think are just the most fantastic thing ever, and I've seen them not fund. And I've seen it several times. And this one issue is going to be the reason why. Now, if you look at my campaign right here, even though I got $15,000 very quickly here, I set a $5,000 goal. So that's not that high. And that's, that could be reasonable. But if you've got a 22-page comic, $5,000 is going to be high. If you've got oh, cool, I just got a backer as we're watching this. That's awesome. But mine is a 66-page graphic novel, so it's a full graphic novel, which you can charge $25 for when you're doing that. And $5,000 is what I know I can comfortably get on a crowdfund campaign very early in the campaign. So there's a reason I set my goal for this, and it's not that my project costs $5,000. In fact, when I do these projects, my all-in on these is typically around $10,000 to $12,000. So you're saying, what, John, are you going to take a loss? Obviously, I didn't take a loss, and none of my graphic novels of this length ever take a loss. And there's a reason I set it at $5,000. I know I can hit that within 2 to 3 days of launching the campaign. That's it. That's the whole reason I do it. I'm going to produce the comic anyway. I am definitely going to get it out there. So if you this advice, if you desperately need the funds in order to even produce the comic, this really isn't for you. But if you're trying to maximize your revenue because you know you're going to produce the comic, you know you're going to be out there, you know you're going to do this, this is the tip for you. Set your crowdfund goal at a level that you know you can reasonably hit early in the campaign. Day 1's great, day 2 or 3 is great also. But if you have that number, the reason it works is people like to back what they know is a success. So when people come in and they see that my comic's funded, they see it's got triple funding, $15,000, they see this is one of the better crowdfunds on Kickstarter. And they go, okay, this is going to be a safe creator where I'm going to get my book because people already respect this creator. That's the psychology behind it. And that's an important psychology because if people trust your book, if people trust your project right away, they are more likely to back it. So I do this for that reason, because when people are browsing, they trust the project. The second reason is when I can go on social media, I can go around bragging about how successful it is. Now, that sounds kind of tacky to do. I understand that. But in reality, again, while that sounds tacky, you talk about how successful you are, the people on social media go, oh, this guy is a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's rocking it. People are really coming to this project, and it builds excitement for it. I see a lot of people on Twitter talking about how unsuccessful their projects are. Well, do you know what that does psychologically? It doesn't get people to pity back you so much as it gets people to veer away from you. They go, yeah, well, I guess nobody else likes this, so I don't know if I trust it either. It's all about that psychology in these campaigns. Now, I saw another campaign. I mentioned I was going to talk about it as an illustration of this. Setting the goal too high sets you up for failure perception-wise, and you'll never hit your goals. So if you have a 22-page comic, again, I don't recommend going $5,000 for a 22-page comic that you can sell for $10 or whatever. That's not going to probably get there. You probably want to set it more like $1,000 or $2,000 because you want to declare that victory if you're going to produce that comic yourself. Now, there's one online right now called Hunter Ninja Bear, sorry. And I backed this myself, as I mentioned. But you notice right here, you got the little green progress bar. It's not that far. And it's only got 114 backers and only $6,000. Now, $6,000 is great for a project to hit, but the goal is $50,000. Now, naturally, it's all or nothing. So if this doesn't hit that $50,000 goal, they're going to end up with nothing. They're not even going to have this backers to produce their project. So it tells me right there they're not serious about producing the project. They're only going to do it if it can get there. Now, $50,000 is a crazy amount. Only like the top 1% of Kickstarter comics can hit $50,000. I've never hit $50,000 on one of my projects, despite most of them hitting around 20 to 30. So this is a crazy high amount. Now, the art looks beautiful. Chuck Dixon is writing this, and this is why I'm backing it. Everything about this project looks super professional, super slick, and super awesome all the way around. It doesn't matter how great their project is. You've got beautiful interior art pages. They've got, look at this. I mean, it looks like a pro comic from Marvel or DC for sure. But because it's at $50,000, people look at it and they go, that's never going to fund. I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to tie up my funds in the event that this goes. They don't go in and they don't just push for that project because it looks like that project's going nowhere. And it's really sad to watch. Honestly, for a project like this, it should be doing very well, and it's not. And it's all because of that $50,000 goal. It just makes the customers unconfident in what they're doing. Now, if they put a 10,000, look, this is like a 300-page book. So I understand that it's probably expensive to produce. They probably are counting on those funds. But if they're serious about this, if they hired somebody like Chuck Dixon and like the artist, I don't know who the artist is, but who's that good of an artist to do this book, you'd think they're a serious company who's going to actually do something, important anyway. They're not just going to hedge their bets on getting this. So it's really odd that they'd set this at $50,000 because if they just set it at 10, it looks like they're halfway there. And a lot of people might have come in just based on the Chuck Dixon name or just based on the art look. If they set it at $5,000, they'd already be there, and then people would be pouring in on this because they would see it's a success. It's a simple little trick, and yes, there is a risk involved that, of course, you might not get to the spot where you break even and all that, but you got to take a little bit of a risk and project a little bit of confidence in order to look like a professional. It's just kind of the way things work in the world. Everything's a risk. Everything you do is a risk. If you're serious, you don't worry about the risk. You just go forward and you keep pushing with what works and you abandon what doesn't work. And that's exactly what the audience thinks too. They are seeing this as something that doesn't work, even though it's a beautiful book. And they see Overmind, which is also a beautiful book, of course. You have to have that. I'm not saying have a crappy project. But they see this as a success, and so they keep coming in for it. It's that simple. All right, if you have any questions down below, leave a comment, and I'll try to help you out as best I can. Hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, check out Overmind if it's something that appeals to you. We love to make quality science fiction. We're doing something very different than you've seen in comics in decades. And, we're moving forward with winning and success and writing great books. All right, thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll be back soon.